I went from being the fastest, being boastful and saying, bro, nobody could beat me. I'm the fastest. I'm beating kids twice my age. To being known as the slowest kid.
That's so funny.
It was crazy.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to In the Fire. I'm your co-host, Lewis, with your host, Danny. Say hi, Danny.
Hey, yo, what's up?
And thank you guys if you guys listening on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube. We appreciate all the love and support. Please keep commenting. If you have a view on any video, anything you want to just talk about, Lord, leave a comment. Lord.
You just called everybody
I'm
Lord.
praying. Leave a comment on YouTube and just, send us a message, show us some love and like and share.
Sir.
And if you ever get any amazing things, any wisdom from our words, then share with people and impart the wisdom as we impart it to you guys. So yeah, thanks for tuning into our 12th episode. Our episode 12, which is
Pride.
Yeah, and if you guys think that I did a better job at the intro, let me know.
Don't
let me
do
know.
that.
No, let me know. Because
How you gonna turn the people against each other?
It's not about turning people against.
Yeah.
It's about sharing an opinion.
You just want your pride to be higher. You want the people to say your intro was better so that your ego goes up and your pride goes higher.
Well, maybe I think that I'm better than everybody else.
How?
Oh.
All right, bro.
Wait.
No, this episode I want you to just listen. Okay?
Wait, am I like struggling with something? Is there something wrong with Is there something going on with me that I need to be free from?
There 1,000% is. If you guys are out there listening, listen, have an open heart to this episode. Some of you guys maybe are too prideful to listen to this message and be like, yeah, I'm too prideful. But definitely, I came at you, I came at you.
Hey,
but
we might hit some skin. We might pierce some skin here. We might, punch you a little bit this episode.
But definitely take this message into consideration, this conversation, and, try to apply it to your own lives. But let's do this.
Yes, sir. So we're talking today about...
To be honest, before you start, this episode is for me. Dude, I'm so prideful, yeah.
Like we said before, we take the wisdom that we talk about.
Yes.
Whenever we're trying to say something to you guys, we're taking that too.
Okay.
We're not exempt from this.
Okay.
So today, talking about pride.
Pride.
Now, Danny, I want to ask you, when you hear the word pride,
Okay.
what comes into your head? Or what is your definition of pride?
Pride, when you say it, the first thing that comes into my head is kind of like self-worth.
Mm-hmm.
Just thinking, I just picture a man walking on down the street with his chest pumped up, his shoulders a little broadened out, and he's looking all with his suit and gold glasses. That's just what goes through my head. The first thing, but I don't know.
That's how you view pride. When I think about pride, or what it means, I'd say I have a little kid definition. It's when you think you're better than everybody else.
Okay.
And that's a little kid definition. But also another way to put it is that when you have pride, it's when you're so inflated with yourself. It's when you go into your mind, and you look at your thought cabinets, every single file in there, every single paper is something about you. And that's it. You're just so, it's inflated, you're built up with thoughts about you, about how you look, about what you're doing, everything's about you.
But I think it goes so much deeper than that.
Well, definitely, yeah.
Because if I take that illustration and try to apply it to my own life, honestly, I could say that it's not really like that for me, but I do know I'm prideful in certain aspects of my life. So I don't know if it fully is all the file cabinets are about me, but it definitely goes deeper than that. And a lot of times people don't even see, I don't know. It's just now you're just getting me thinking,
I have a verse and you're gonna put the name there.
I got you. I got you.
Right here. How can I do it right here?
Yeah. Right under you.
Under me. Okay, right here. Yeah, that's cool. Everyone needs to be. You can see that. This verse I forgot. I didn't put the name because I forgot. It's where is it? In his pride, the wicked man does not seek him. In all his thoughts, there is no room for God. And so when I hear that, that's why I said a person is so inflated with their self because there's no room for God in a person who's dealing with pride's thoughts, in their thoughts. When a person has pride in their mind, there's no room for God because you're just proud. You think you have the power.
Wow.
Whichever way you can get the pride, whether it's through your possessions or whatever, you have that pride with you, and there's no room for God in there. It's just filled with you.
can you be proud of yourself?
What's
the difference? Like what? How does that apply?
That's something that I wanted to hit too, which is like, when somebody, because like a common saying is, I take pride in my work, or I take pride in this, I take pride in that, and that's fine. Like when you work hard towards something, let's say that you saved up money to get a car, and you're like, I'm so proud of this car. I worked my butt off for this thing, and I got it.
Yeah.
I'm not. You don't hear Lewis going like, "You are pride, dude. You need to be free from that." No, that's not what I'm saying. You can take pride in your own work. We even said it on the last not the last episode, in a few episodes back.
Yeah.
In Galatians, where it says like, take pride in your own work, right? And then you won't have to compare yourself to other people because you're focusing on your own stuff.
Yeah.
So when somebody asks, can I be proud of myself? Yeah, you can. I want to be proud of myself when I achieve my goals.
Yeah.
Anybody can. So that's the thing. Like, and it's the same word, but it's very different, right? One is a very bad sin that can lead to other bad things, and the other one is just being happy that you got something done. So that's like that's like the difference that I want to paint out for you guys, is understanding that when I say taking pride in something, like that's fine. You happy that you accomplished a goal? Perfect. That's amazing. We want you to be happy about that. But let's say you achieved that car. Let's say you got that stuff, or let's just say you have a lot of nice things, right? Maybe you got like a new phone, new shoes, whatever. I believe there's a problem when you start thinking that those things make you better than everybody else.
That's something I wrote down, is if the value is tied to it. So like, I was going to ask you, like, why do we get proud about, why do we want that car? Mm-hmm. What's the deeper meaning of wanting that car that will make us proud of ourselves? Why do we have to get to the point where we have to buy something expensive and something materialistic to be proud of ourselves?
It's because, like, we live in a world where it's like about status. So when you got the newest stuff, the newest phone, the newest shoes, the newest car, then you're like, I'm better than everybody else. Obviously, I am. It's been like that for a long time, ever since the Bible. Like, people that have been rich and poor. When you're poor, nobody cares about you. When you're rich, you're rich. And you're popular, and you probably have like a lot of money, obviously. Yeah. You have all the nice things because you're rich. So it's always like a status thing. Like, you got a lot of money, why wouldn't you feel like you're better than everybody else? Because you can do more things. When you have money, it's like money's a tool. So when you have more of it, you can do like more stuff. You can get nicer things, and you can especially want to basically impress people. Yeah. Right? That's kind of the main thing. When you go to school and you have these nice shoes, is your motive to have them, or is your motive to be like, everybody's gonna see my shoes when I get to school? You know what I mean?
It's funny because I had a conversation with my best friend about this, because I was he likes to wear like more expensive clothes, and we were just talking about it, and I was like, why do you like the expensive clothes? Like, what? It's because of the status. I explained to him. I was like, you like that this clothes is valued at a higher perspective. People look at it, I'm like, oh, that's an expensive brand. That's like, not everybody has that. And he's like, no, I just like the style. And I was like, okay, if that same Essentials hoodie was sold at Walmart, would you buy it? And he's like, no. I was like, the same brand, same color, same fabric, same everything was sold at Walmart, would you buy it? He said no. And it's interesting to me, because it's like, we value those things because of what other people see it as.
That's so true. And how is that not true? You like Jordans because your big brother liked Jordans. Yeah. You're like, those are nice because he liked them. Right. Well, a lot of times we get our view on things from other people. And especially from like society, where trends always come. Always. There's always new trends.
And that hurts our pride.
Exactly. Because then we're like, we don't have the newest trend. Yep. So it's an endless cycle of you trying to impress people. Yeah. Imagine that. Like, when the newest shoe comes out, if you don't have that shoe, bro, you suck, bro. You can't be part of the cool kids, bro. You don't have that new shoe. And that's a constant thing. Yeah. Right? Like I said about trends, a new trend happens every like year, or every month, every 2 months, whatever that trend is. If you haven't hopped on it, then like you're going to be left in the back. Yep. And imagine getting like your value from that. Like, you think that that's going to make you happy. Yeah. Like, impressing people, like, that's going to make you happy.
But that's what I'm saying. I think there's a negative pride, and then there's a good pride. Okay. I kind of would like to look at it as pride versus proud. You can be proud of yourself, but pride is kind of when you just think you're better than everybody else, like we talked about. Yeah. When you're tying value to the things that you have, materialistic things, that's when things, go south.
Yeah, it's supposed to become a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but like, you say that. So then, how can a person view like purchasing something nice? Because I feel like we're making this so.
Yeah, it's like don't buy nice stuff.
It's like we're making it so sensitive.
Yeah.
If you do that, then obviously you're proud. Obviously.
Yeah.
So like, I want to ask you, how can we have a mindset where we're not being proud? We're not having pride, but we're just like living.
I guess just look at your intentions and your heart, where your heart's at when you're buying it. What is the real reason you're buying it?
Yeah.
Can you buy the same car for a less price, but do you just want the expensive one because of the name? Because you want people to view it as like a higher brand car.
Yeah.
Or whatever you're buying.
Or let's say that person has that money and they can just buy it, and they're just buying just because they have been like blessed with money. They have money. Like that's not a problem either, right? Because if somebody has money and they buy, I mean, obviously that's just like an expensive purchase.
Yeah.
Like anybody can be like, you should have just got a normal car, but like, how can
I think we're getting too wrapped up into materialistic things and pride. I think there's so much more to pride than just the things that we buy. Because I know, like, and what your question is so super valid. It's like we're kind of being insensitive to that, where it's like, what if we like my best friend genuinely just likes to buy that clothes, and at Walmart you can't find that brand. It was just a question I was asking. Yeah, but you can't find that brand at Walmart. And to be honest, the Essential hoodies are very comfy. This is not sponsored. But I mean, if you guys want to sponsor, Essentially, imagine. But
somebody at them.
But yeah, like you can't find that at Walmart. So obviously, I get it. It makes sense. And he does like the style. He's never like, yo, check out my whatever. But I think we're getting too wrapped up into like how it's materialistic. I think there's so much more that we could talk about for pride.
Definitely. Like, okay. So when I think about pride, not only do I think about how you're better than everybody else, I always know, I know that when you're proud, when you have pride always is associated with boasting. Right? We know what, and if you guys know what boasting is, it means to like praise oneself, right? Like you're praising yourself and you're saying like all this talk about like your abilities and your achievements, right? And so I always like, picture pride with boasting. And I remember I have a story where I had one of my coworkers, and he was a funny guy. I remember he would like always come to us and my other friends that are my coworkers, and he'd be like, "What's up, guys? Yo, I don't do nothing at this job. I don't do anything. I go in the back and I sleep. I don't care. I don't care about this job. I can lose this job right now. I don't care. I got so much money in the bag. I ain't got to worry about all this, dude. I don't do nothing here." And he was like, he was boasting about not having a good work ethic, And I was like, what is this thing? What is this? Like, and he would talk to me and I'd be like, yeah, man. Oh my gosh, you're right. Yeah, you don't got to work at this job. And he was like boasting about how he was such a bad worker. Like that's how I can view it. He was saying all this stuff like, I don't need this job. Like I sleep in the back. I don't do anything.
Yeah.
And then like a few days pass or whatever. He's still working there. And then like one day I go to my friend and I'm like, yo, where is that guy? He's like, oh, he got fired. And I'm like, oh,
ooh,
okay. And I was like, I wasn't really surprised.
Yeah, obviously not.
And then another situation where one of my coworkers, who used to be in a different department where you couldn't like be on your phone, it was very like strict department. And then like my department is very lenient, right? And so I would see him always on his phone, like watching TV shows, watching novelas and everything like that. And he'd do his work, but like obviously he was like kind of slacking off all the time.
Yeah.
And then eventually he got kicked out of our department.
Damn.
And I don't know if he boasted about his position, but I would assume that after coming out of a place where you were not allowed to do anything, and then coming to a department where you're like, nobody's really on you, I would think he'd go to his friends and be like, yo, I'm not doing anything over there. I'm on my phone all the time. Yeah. Like I'm so free over there. And then like he lost. He went back to the department.
The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh.
Oh, and that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Like I feel like this is like when I saw that was like the theme I got of what happens when you're boasting about something.
I actually have such a funny story about that same like thing that we just talked about the Lord giveth, the Lord taketh, right? So when I was younger, growing up, probably from the age of like freaking, I don't know, 5 to like 13, I was the fastest kid in my school.
Okay.
Like I could be a 4th grader and I was racing 8th graders, my little tiny legs, and I was beating them.
At that time, you don't need no Lambo to show your work, bro. You got the race.
Bro, I was so fast, but I was extremely, extremely prideful about it. Very proudful. And I always worked hard to maintain my status, I guess. It sounds so messed up, but it's true. And like I would always race people, and like I even would like make a rank status of our class, be like, yo, I'm first place, you know, I'm the fastest, you're second, whatever.
That's so funny.
And I would always start races with people, and obviously we're little kids, so we're always really competitive. We're gonna try to beat each other, but I was always the fastest. Soccer team came, I was always I was just very fast. And I remember even one time, one of our close friends, he came he came over. The first thing I did, that was the first time I met him ever, but I knew he was moving into the town and he was coming to our school. Yeah. So I was like, ooh, like, yo, what if he's fast? Can you believe me? Can you believe me? I look back at this, I'm like, bro, that's how much pride I had.
Oh my God.
The first thing I did was, let's race. I was like, yo, you bored? He's like, yeah. We had just met. We talked for 2 minutes. I was like, let's go in the backyard and race. That's the first thing we did. I beat him. But still, like, that's crazy to think about. But the Lord giveth. Few years later, I gained some weight. I get tendonitis on my ankles, which is like this thing from playing soccer too much. Okay. And like my ankles start to hurt after walking too much or running too much. Yeah, I'm an old man. I get it. But soon enough, I was the slowest kid on my team.
No way.
Slowest. We would run laps at my school. I would be the last one. The last one. Out of breath, ankles hurting, super slow. I could beat nobody.
Oh my gosh.
I was known as the slow kid. I was known as the slowest kid on the team.
Wow.
I went from being the fastest, being boastful and saying, bro, nobody could beat me. I'm the fastest. I'm beating kids twice my age. To being known as the slowest kid.
That's so funny.
It was crazy, and it humbled me so much. And it was a thing that I had to go through because I was very prideful in other things too. I was very proudful in like my academic stuff because I was really intelligent when I was younger. High school came, I was known as the stupid kid in my class.
Wow.
And, dude, just the things that's what I'm saying. Like, you're proudful about things that, like you said, things that. Like, why would you be proudful of that? And for us, spiritually, when we look at somebody being proudful of their materialistic things, it's like, careful.
Be careful, yeah.
If it gets taken away, now, like, what you're looking at. Like, what are people looking at? You were boastful, and now look at you. You lost everything. Yeah. Now you just look dumb.
Yeah.
Now you just look dumb.
That's what I want. Like,
and that was me. That happened to me so much.
That's such a good example of what happens when you're proud. Yep. And that's why, like, I want everybody to hear this and say, and like ask themselves, what are you boasting about? Like, or are you boasting about anything? Right? Like, because like I know in the verse it says, like, if don't let the wise boast about their wisdom, or the strong boast about their strength. And then it says boast about God. Like, if you're gonna, it even says, like, I think Paul says, like, if you're gonna boast about anything, boast about the Lord, not about like your own like things. And that's why I want everybody to like hear this. Like, what are you boasting about? Yeah. If you like, you got to be careful. Because the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh. It's just so funny because I was going to say that exact statement because in life group, I remember like one of our group members, he told a story about how he went to a soccer game at school because it was one of the finals. Yeah. And so he went to the game instead of going to like Disney World. And then
it was like a class trip.
Yeah, a class trip. Yeah. And then at the end of the game, they were losing by like 5 or something really badly. And then he said to himself, the Lord giveth, the Lord taketh. Yeah. And I think that like statement kind of put into perspective, I guess, like how I view the situation, because I always want to stay vigilant on making sure I'm not boasting about something that the God can take away like this. Yeah. Right. Like we have that view like spiritually where like God can take away anything. Yeah. You know, God can give us something and he can give us a blessing because he loves us, but he might take something away too if we get too prideful about it. That's what we all have to be vigilant about that.
Dude, this episode is literally for me because I have so many stories about being too prideful. Prideful has always been like a thing that I've suffered with. Like let's say even with things that have to do with God, it's like I've been a Christian my whole life. I've been doing all these things, you know, gaining all this wisdom, and then I see somebody that's like newer into the faith get maybe a position at the church or be a leader of a life group, or they're even teaching me. I'm like, what are you teaching me for? I'm I'm a veteran at this. Like, come on. Yeah. And that's my pride kicking in. How am I talking like that if I should instead be like extremely proud and like
exhorting them?
Yeah, it's like, dude, like that's so awesome. Yeah. And the thing is, like, that was just me closing my heart because we should always be open, and like just because I've been doing it for years doesn't mean I've learned enough. You never learn enough. Yeah. And maybe they've been on a different path that they can actually teach you something, even if it was way shorter than what you did. So it's like, dang, that pride I gotta beat down, man.
Yeah, that's perfect. Like when you have that, because pride is like and what's it called? And I think it's expressed. Yeah, like an expressed a view of oneself. Yeah. But what's the word for like when you it's like something with E. When you make something more bigger than it really is.
Exaggerate?
Yeah. Okay. It's an exaggerated view of oneself. It's an exaggerated view of your abilities and your achievements. That's what pride is. Right? So like you might view that guy and then you're like, man, like I can do way better. And like that's where like that's exactly where pride begins.
Yep.
Right? Like it says
comparison.
It's comparison. That's why it's like, focus on yourself. Like it says take pride in your own work. Right? Like I think it says evaluate yourself with sober judgment. Right? And like, I have the verse right here. I was going to say it at the end, but I kind of want to say it now.
Yeah, go for it.
It says right here. Wait, no. Wrong one. Here it is. Because of the privilege and authority God has given me, I give each of you this warning. He calls this the warning. He's warning us about pride.
Yep.
Right? He says, don't think you are better don't think you are better than you really are. Be honest in your evaluation of yourselves, measuring yourselves by the faith God has given us.
Wow.
So he says, first of all, I didn't even read that like that. I kind of just spotted that. But he says warning. He's giving us a warning not to act in a way that's going to be unloving, right? Pride is super unloving. It's the opposite of love right there. Because when you're proud, you're always thinking you're better. And when you're better, when you think you're better than somebody, you don't show them the same love, right? Like I remember this story where like, I think Jesus, I forgot who said it, but they were talking about how if you're going to be nice to, like when you let somebody in your house, greet the person that's rich the same way you greet somebody, the same way you greet somebody that's poor, right? Because I think it said how like you let the rich person into your house and you're like, hey man, hey, come sit on the table here. I'm gonna pull out the table pull out the chair for you. Sit down. Hey, I'll get you nice and relaxed, right? And then the poor person comes and you're like, sit down on the ground.
Yeah.
Like you see that? Like that's why it's like that's what pride is. And with that verse, it says like evaluate yourself with sober judgment, right? Or like don't think you're better than who you really are. Like do not think you're better than like basically what I just said. What pride is, right? Thinking you're better than everybody else. Yeah. It's like don't think you're better than everybody else.
Right.
And that's what that's what I'm saying. That's what pride is. Like pride is thinking you're better than everybody else.
There was I was gonna ask you like, what are things that pride can interfere with or stop us from growing in certain ways? And I'll start off so that you get the idea of what I'm trying to ask. When you're too proud to ask for help or let other people help you, I know like we'll be bringing the groceries up and like they're like, oh, do you want me to help you? I'm like, nah, I got it. And I'm over there like with a bunch of bags on my shoulders and I'm like, oh, I got it. Just because like it's just my pride. And it's like, no, I don't want you to help me because like I got it.
Wow.
And you don't let like other people help you. That's one example, but I want to ask you about it.
Yeah, like I guess what was the question again?
Come on, bro. Like what are things where pride interferes with the way you grow or the way you are?
I mean, because like I think we said it before on the podcast where when you have pride, you have a wall there, and that wall is going to stay up. And nobody's going to be able to like sharpen you, right? As a friend, you have to sharpen each other. And if you have pride, I can't sharpen you because you think you're better than me.
Yeah.
Right? Like I can't, like a person, like it's like a teacher who has a student and then the student corrects them for something they did wrong and they actually did something wrong. But they're going to say, no, you don't know anything. I know more than you, so I'm not going to take anything from you because I know more than you. And like, who's wrong in there? The student isn't wrong. It's the teacher. Yeah. Because the teacher has this pride that I'm not going to receive any sort of correction from a person who's below me or they think that is below them. Right? And we always have this like view of like master student, teacher student, master like disciple, right? Yeah. Lord disciple. Right? Like that's not how it is. Like that's what pride is.
One thing I was going to say is like it kind of goes with the forgiveness episode. Same thing, it's like that barrier that you're just stopping really good healthy relationships from progressing. But like I got into this argument with this like friend, let's say a friend I was talking to, right? And we got into an argument and it wasn't really like, I think it was just both of our faults. It was just a misunderstanding and we were just like speaking negatively to each other and stuff. And we argued and we just stopped talking.
Okay.
Obviously my pride kicked in and I was like, oh, this is so dumb. Like, why are we arguing? There's no point. Like I should be loving. But my pride kicked in and I was like, I don't want to be the first one to text. I'll wait for them to text me.
Oh my gosh.
And I do that all the time, and it's really bad. It's really bad. And the thing is, at that point, she also had pride, and she's like, I'm not texting him. I'm waiting for him to text me. Bro, it went like 2 weeks later. She's like, yo, what's good? Like,
oh my
yeah, and it was bad. And I was like, our pride kicked in and stopped it and made like this small situation so much bigger than it really was, just because we were too afraid to say, hey, let's talk this out. Not even, hey, I'm sorry. It was just, hey, like, just the text to say, like, let's talk this out. That's how, like, prideful.
That's how pride works, yeah.
Yeah. Or too pride to forgive. I know forgiveness was two episodes ago. 10, right?
Oh, no, 11. No,
episode 10. Episode 10.
My fault, G.
Yeah. Apologize again? My
fault, G.
But, yeah, our pride, sometimes we're just too prideful to forgive. And that's crazy. It's like we're stopping ourselves from growing. We're stopping ourselves from having healthy relationships. We're stopping everything because we just are too prideful to listen and too prideful to act upon it because we want to be known as like this higher status or like not. And that's the thing. Like for me, it's unintentionally. I don't do that texting thing that I just talked about because I want. At least that's not what goes through my head. It's not like, oh, I want her to look at me as this manly guy that doesn't apologize. And like, I don't think about that stuff.
Yeah.
It's like this unconscious pride that's in the back of my head that makes me do that stuff.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times, like with pride, well, first, that what you said, a good thing to understand is that pride will delay your blessings, right? Pride is going to delay goodness, just goodness in general. Yeah. Everything that's going to come to your life that's good, if you have pride, it's going to delay that. So you're not going to get those things that you want to get now because you have something inside you that has to be taken out. Yeah. And that thing is pride. And also, like, I just believe that pride is kind of rooted in insecurity, you know? And I feel like that's what it is. Like, when you, just to go back to the material things a bit, like when you say, you know, oh, like, what are some things that people take pride in, right? And that could be, like I said before, your phone, your shoes, or maybe you take pride in your appearance. Maybe you think you're more attractive than everybody else, and so you don't want to associate with anybody you think is ugly, right? And that's hate.
Oh yeah, that's
and like
bad,
you know, and you think that you're better because you have a better phone or whatever, like, or maybe your family has more money than like people at your school. Yeah. So now when you don't want to associate with poor people, you want to associate with people that have the same like monetary status, even though it's your family's money, not yours.
And that's what I was getting at before. Is it's like. It's a lot of times it's unconscious. A lot of people listening, they're going, that's not me. What? That's not me.
Yeah.
Have you looked at your life? Have you looked at the people you surround yourself with? And then maybe you'll find this like common pattern. You're like, wait, is it because of that?
Yeah. And
it's a great question to ask you. And it's something that we need to be aware of. And you need to like analyze in yourself because a lot of times it's, like I said, like you don't think about it. It's not like in your brain you're going, I want to be proud and screw them, they're poor. Yeah, like, exactly. You don't think like that. No, it's just things that we need to uncover.
Yes, that is so good. That's how it is. It's not like you choose one day to be proud. Yeah. Like like one day you're just like, I hate people that aren't on the same level as me. Yeah. It's like it's a process, right? And so when I say that, when I'm like, okay, all that big list of like people where you can take pride in, right? Like, because you know when somebody takes pride in that stuff, like that stuff means a lot to them, right? Now I want to ask, like, you know, would you be the same if God took that stuff away from you? If God took all those things that I listed away from you, meaning like maybe your monetary status, things that you own, like, would you be the same person, right? Or were you hiding your insecurities in those things, right? Or like, what's it called? Like, would you break down if God took those things away from you? Like, would you just become nothing if God took away like all those things that made you who you are?
And that's something I wrote down was dignity is something that we need to have. Succeed or fail, we have nothing to prove to anybody or to even ourselves. So that's kind of what you're talking about is like, if we lose everything, are we a failure? Or if we lost our car or how, that's talking about the materialistic things. But if it's like, if God took those things away from me, let's say you're prideful in your looks. Let's say you're just a or like dapper man.
And your speed, like what you said before.
Yeah, my speed, like, taketh. God taketh, right?
Yeah.
You're a good-looking man, and you know it.
Yeah.
You know you're a dapper man.
And you know you can get any girl you want, and you know you have that pride.
What happens if you get into a car accident, and your face gets messed up?
Oh, man.
Did you value your entire life off of that? Like, are you just broken now? Are you, like, nothing?
Wow.
Have you lost everything just because of what your face looks like?
Wow.
Have I lost? Am I a bad soccer player because I lost my speed? Did I value my entire playing style off of speed?
Wow. That's insane. And I feel like what that is that pride comes from not having a strong foundation on what your value is.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally what pride is all about.
Because you substitute it with whatever you can find.
Exactly. Or either it's the position, the things, like the health you have, the wealth you have, the possessions you have, and the position that you have.
Yeah.
All those things, you can put your pride into that.
Yeah.
And like place your value on sand. Right? When we, like in the Bible where it says like, are you going to be the wise man who built his house on a rock? So when the waves and the wind came, the house was fine?
Yeah.
Or are you going to build your house on the sand? So when the winds and the waves come and hit your house is going to be destroyed completely, right? And so when we talk about pride, when you have that pride, you're building your house on sand. So when something happens where you get in that car accident, like God forbid, and you lose like all your appearance and attractiveness, then your house breaks down. Because obviously, first of all, it's a terrible thing. Nobody wants that to happen to them.
Right, obviously.
But
not.
like,
it's just an example.
Yeah, like the thing that you place so much value in has been taken away from you, and so now you feel like you're nothing.
Wow.
And like God doesn't want you to have such a flimsy value or flimsy view of yourself, right? To have that pride is so flimsy. It's like you have no value. There's no foundation there. You need to have a true foundation on what your value is and how much you mean to people, how much you mean to God. If you think you mean something to your friends just because you have a nice house, and what happens if you move houses and you get a smaller house? So when you go to your friends, you're like, guys, you can't, like, I'm gonna have a different house when you guys come over, so I don't really think, and like, in what, you think you're not gonna be loved anymore?
Yeah.
They're not gonna accept you, and that's so lame. But if like in the beginning where you were just like, this is just my house, like, guys, I got a new one.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, like I don't really place value in that stuff. I place value in knowing who I am.
Right.
You know, like that, and that changes everything completely.
And that pushes me to the next question I wanted to ask you was like, so we've uncovered like the truths about pride, right? Everybody listening, like we've talked about it being something in the back of your head that you don't really think about, and to really analyze your life and see like, is this what pride like?
Yeah.
Do I have pride in my life, right? But how do we overcome that pride? Or I mean, I feel like, to be honest, I feel like you're always gonna have pride even in the smallest bit. I feel like it's not, I don't know how possible it is to fully overcome pride because it's just like how we're built and how we are. But how do we minimize it or overcome it if we have it to a certain extent? And that's one thing that you talked about, is, my bad for interrupting you, but is the foundation.
Yeah.
That's the first step, is to have that solid foundation, because when you have that solid foundation, you're not placing value on anything else but who you are and God's work in you.
Yes. That's
so
exactly
when you like, okay, yeah, you might be proud for about one thing, but if your foundation is solid, your pride thing is not substituting that.
Yeah.
So when the wind comes, maybe the top of your house will fall, but you still have a little bit of that foundation. You still have that house built.
Yeah.
So the foundation is extremely important.
Yeah, it's basically like what I said. Like, is your identity built on what you have, or on what God says about you?
Yeah,
that's what it is. And like, to answer your question, I think I have like a perfect story for that. Right? It's like, it's in Daniel, and I think maybe this is for you. I don't know. Maybe God's talking to you right now.
Maybe.
Right? So I'm just gonna read it. It's a story about a king and Daniel when he was explaining, like, I don't know if you guys know about like Men in Maniteco, when they saw the big hand right on the wall.
Oh, the
like,
blood.
Yeah,
on the
like,
wall. Yeah, okay.
And then they're like, oh, we need somebody to like
decipher it.
Yeah. And so Daniel comes and he's talking to the king, and then he says, he was talking about King Nebuchadnezzar, right? And he was like, because of the high position he gave him, which was God, that God gave him this high position, right? He says, all the nations and people of every language dreaded and feared him, right? Those the king wanted to put to death, he put to death. Those he wanted to spare, he spared. Those he wanted to promote, he promoted. And those he wanted to humble, he humbled. So you gotta think about this. He had the power. He can do whatever he pleased. He had the power. He had the power, bro. He can do whatever he wanted, right? And then it says, but when his heart became arrogant and hardened with pride, he was disposed from his royal throne and stripped of his glory. Like,
once again, the Lord giveth
and the Lord taketh.
Yeah.
And like, that's the thing. Like, it's because he had that arrogant attitude, right? And in the definition of arrogance, right, it's meaning having or revealing an exaggerated sense of one's own importance or abilities. So the King Nebuchadnezzar, right?
Yeah.
He was arrogant. And what happened to him was he lost his throne. He lost the power that he had that he was boasting about, right? And it said in the Bible that he gained the mind of an animal, and he went to go eat with the ox. So he was like on all fours eating like the hay.
That's just mad disrespectful, bro.
And like he was being rained on like by the dew, which I'm pretty sure is rain, I think. And like he was being rained on and just acting like an animal.
Yeah.
And so he went from like what you said, the fastest runner, the best king, the strongest king, to eating with animals and eating with pigs, which in the Bible that was like the most like lowest position, right? And so, but what happens, right? It says at the end of it, like that was all happening until he acknowledged that the Most High God is sovereign over all kingdoms on earth and sets over them anyone he wishes. And so it wasn't until he evaluated, right? Please tell me that's right, please. He evaluated himself with sober judgment that he regained. I think he regained like his human mind. I think, I'm not sure, but like that's what it is. You have to not view yourself as like arrogant and like I can make anybody do anything, which is what he thought, which was like fine, right? Like I mean, not fine, but I know people that are listening that are probably saying, well, Lewis, how could you not inherit a proudful mind?
That's what I was gonna say too. Yeah.
Like how could you not like have that mind while being in that position, right? And so, wait, hold on. Sorry. I kind of forgot what I was going to say about
that. No, but I was going to say that to you too, is like something, and it's like a weird fear, but right now I'm in my grind time in my life where I want to gain a lot of money and like, you know, I'm working towards it. But if it's like, if I do achieve that, I'm scared to become prideful. I don't want to, because somebody in that position, like, how could you not? If you have all this money, all this expensive stuff, all this power, like this king, how could you not be prideful?
Yeah. And like that's why with that story, there's two other verses where first off it says in actually Proverbs 16:18. I actually know that it says pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. And haughty is like when you look down on people. Okay. So it's like that's and that and also another one where it's like it's in Proverbs. Sorry, I keep on forgetting all these verses. Where is it? Oh yeah, when pride comes, then comes disgrace, right? But with humility comes wisdom. So it's like a common theme that if you have pride, if you get to that place of pride, something's gonna happen. Yeah. And I think that is kind of like with my coworkers is living proof of that verse. Before pride comes destruction. Yeah. Like you're gonna be proudful about having a bad work ethic, you're gonna get fired. Yep. And that's what happens, and that's why you have to have that vigilancy. I think that's the word. I don't know, new word. You have to be vigilant on making sure you're not. We
should make like a dictionary called the in the fire dictionary.
Yeah, in the fire dictionary.
But all right, so first thing for overcoming pridefulness, foundation.
Foundation, yeah, that's the main thing. Making sure you have a foundation of your
and
value.
Gain humility.
Gain humility. Hey, what was the first episode, right?
Yeah, we've been doing this throughout the whole podcast. Is gain that humility, and we were excited to do it for this episode.
Oh yeah, and I forgot to say that we have been hinting at pride a lot. Yep, mostly me. I was hinting at pride throughout all these episodes, so I'm really glad to again hit this one more time. And last thing I want to say, just so you guys can get this, is what I kind of made was like this process of you have pride, right? But then you get to you get to humility, and then from humility, you get to gratitude. And why do I say that? When you're proud, in that moment, King Nebuchadnezzar was like he said he was arrogant and full of pride, right? Meaning that he thought he was the best. Nobody was important as him. Everybody was below him. Nobody could touch him, right? But then if we go from pride to humility, in that moment, if he was humble, he would have said, like, God is God. God is sovereign. He has given me this position, so I'm going to follow him and be faithful to him because I have this because of him. Everything I have is because of God. Right. And I have this power because of him. And so with humility, then comes gratitude. Thank you, God.
I always love when, let's say, like, famous people, footballers, whatever it is, whenever they get an award, not all of them, very few of them, but I love when they do that. It's like the first thing they do, I knew you were going to say do whatever, bro. Sorry. The first thing they do is like they say like all glory to God. Thank you, God, for this like opportunity. And that's so awesome. And okay, you continue. That was just something that came to my head.
What?
No, it's like them being at that high position and that power that they have, and yet they remind themselves where they came from, and they remind themselves like God gave me all this.
Oh yeah.
Even though I worked towards it, it's all thanks to God that I'm in this position. So the first thing they say publicly is, "Thank you, God."
Definitely. I remember hearing that, and I was like, I think they're lying.
Yeah, a lot of times you do. Yeah,
I hear that. I saw that stuff, and I'm like, bro, shut up.
No, but you know what? Like, I thought that too, and I actually talked about it because we talked about how Faruko became a Christian publicly, and I heard somebody was like, I don't really believe him. Like, okay, even if it wasn't true in his own heart, and God will like create justice for them, but he's still like doing it publicly, and he's still talking about God. I'd rather him be talking about God than him talking about other stuff. So even if it's not true in his own heart, he's at least talking about God to other people.
Oh yeah,
and it could be impacting other people. So I just want to throw that out there. You can continue now.
All right, whatever, homie. But yeah, that's the last thing I want you guys to understand. There's pride. Like if you have pride, get the humility, right? Understand where you're at and that God can give and take, and they don't be like my coworker who is boasting about his bad at work ethic, right? Watch what you boast about, right? If you have pride, evaluate yourself with sober judgment, right? Don't think you're better than what you are, like what Paul said, I think, and like make sure you go from pride to humility, and then humility to gratitude.
Wow.
Instead of having a mind where you think that you have all the power, you're actually saying that God has all the power and that he has everything in his hands and I have nothing in my hands, right? It's before that verse it says like, don't think that you're something when you're nothing.
Wow.
And
I was going to say that like, what are we prideful about if like we aren't like even that king at the highest position king?
Yeah.
God is still better than you. So what are you prideful about? You know, like humble yourself.
Yeah.
Because he's like that much bigger than you. So like just humble yourself, you know?
Yeah.
And overcoming growth, foundation, humility, gratitude.
And with the foundation, building a strong foundation on where your value is.
And something I wrote down was when you know you are wrong, admit it. That's something like a practice you can do to overcome your pride. Because it's something that we need to overcome and we need to practice on it.
It's a process.
It's a process.
Yeah.
So when you're wrong, you know, like tell yourself like, I'm not going to let myself be proudful. I'm going to admit that I'm wrong. And that's the first step, right? Something else that I wrote down was learn to listen and stop talking sometimes.
I mean, if you don't want me to talk, just say that, bro.
It is all we do is talk. We're arrogant. We're this. We're that. We're stop talking. Stop talking because somebody in front of you is telling you, hey, maybe you're not doing this right, or maybe you can do this better. But you're too proud to listen to them, and you just want to close your ears and say, no, I'm doing this right. So learn to listen and stop talking sometimes. Wow. And that's all I have.
And with that, like, make sure your mind isn't so cloudy. If your mind is cloudy, there could be some pride there. And that cloudiness is not going to allow anybody to talk to you. What you said, you're talking all the time, and nobody can even have the opportunity to tell you something, right? Pride, like, will stop you from being available to teach. So you have to be available to teach. If you're not, then how are you going to learn? And learning is a process, no matter what. It doesn't matter how proudful you are. You need to be taught. Like, I need to be taught still. Even when I'm like 80, 70, 90, 100, I still need to be taught things. I haven't learned everything at age 100. But that's why always be available to teach.
Awesome.
And that's what pride is all about.
There you go. Ended the book perfectly.
That's what that's what the Bible Project does. And
there you guys. Yo, stop talking. I'm going to do the outro now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, whether you're listening on Spotify, iTunes.
Wait. Shouldn't I do it?
Oh, yeah, you did the intro. I'll let you do the outro. Sorry, my proudness kicked in. I just want to do the outro because, you know. Bro, stop, dude. Just
all right, my fault. Thanks for watching, guys. We're watching us on. Sorry. Thanks for watching us, guys. Whether you're watching us on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube,
Spotify.
Please tune into the next episode. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe. And if you guys got anything,
peace out, yo.